On today's episode of That Was Us, we're diving into Season 3, Episode 13, Our Little Island Girl. Beth's trip home to care for her mother stirs up memories of the girl she used to be and the dreams she once left behind. As she reconnects with her past, Beth begins to rediscover a path she thought she'd lost and considers a new chapter ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going today?
It's going good. Let's not beat around the bush here.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Give the people what they want.
Let's give them what they want. You guys know Mandy, you know Chris, you know SKB. You also know our special guest for today's episode, Miss Susan Kelechi Watson.
Yes.
Look at you. Sight for sore eyes.
Sue,
Hey, guys.
You look-
You look gorgeous.
gorgeous.
Everyone,
Thank you.
log on to YouTube.
Come
yeah,
on
you
now.
got to
And
see this.
you want to see how to
episode.
set up a Zoom call?
You want to
Yeah,
see
exactly.
Susan Kelechi Watson is here to show you how
this,
to do
this
it.
is not a little island girl. This is a grown-ass woman right here, Jack.
Shut your mouth.
How you doing, sis?
Doing great. How you doing?
We're doing
We're
great. We're
good.
doing
Oh,
great.
good. Good to see you all, kind of.
Thank
It's
you.
so good to see you
different on
too.
Zoom, I'll say that.
It is
Yeah. It's
different. It is
We're
different.
not
Yeah.
as front and
I see
center as you are.
profiles, but you know.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Happy to see
that's
you with
us
that.
so you can see us over there.
Okay, there we go.
So we're looking at her camera. Now we got to look back at you on the screaming jigger.
Okay, got it.
This episode, Sue, like before we get into just like the granular of it, had been a long time coming to get sort of Beth's backstory. Can you just tell us a little bit about how excited you were to get to this episode? I know I have a few anecdotes and remembering conversations between us, but just from your perspective, what did it feel like to be able to get into this one?
I remember wondering what it was going to be like. That I remember being like, what? You know, because up until this time, I didn't know. I can't say I didn't know. I had made up a lot of Beth's backstory.
Okay.
So up until this time, I wasn't sure like what Dan was thinking, what the writers were thinking. But I remember that I think it was like season 1. I was in the writers' room one day, and you know, they would have the open door policy and we could just like kick it and walk in there and whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember texting Kay Oyegun after one of those sessions. And I just hit her like, yo, just to let y'all know, like I used to dance. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Sure.
know that they like to know things about us.
Yeah.
And it literally was a one-line, one-sentence text. So seasons went by, you know, this was like the 3rd season,
Yeah.
Our Little Island Girl. And to see that make its way into the script was like, oh, wow, dope. But then they made it ballet, and I was like, ah.
I should have
You
specified.
should have been more specific.
It was exotic dancing.
When there was no pole, I got nervous. So, moral of the story, be specific. Back to you.
And then back to you guys in the studio. That's all I have for that anecdote. What type of dance did you used to?
Listen, everything else.
Everything else.
Like literally everything else. Like I stopped ballet so early
Yeah.
because they made me feel so bad
Yeah.
about myself. The ballet
world,
school I
man.
went to,
Yeah.
about the shape of my body,
Right.
that I didn't enjoy it. And I felt like they kind of rode me in a way that wasn't typical of what they were doing with the other girls in the class. And also there was just something innately about myself as a dancer that wasn't as fond of form, the form of that.
Right.
And so I really took to like tap. I was like a fish in water
Okay.
with tap. I took tap for like a couple of months, and they put me in a competition with people who've been doing it for like 7 and 8 years.
Whoa.
And I was tapping with people
Yeah.
on another level because like my body picked up that rhythm. If you Afro anything, I was there for
Yeah.
it. But like the ballet of it all, that wasn't a form that I felt like really I took to in a way. So in reading the script and knowing that it was going to be ballet, I actually went to them and I was like, y'all sure it's ballet, And they were like, no, it's fine. We'll get somebody to like teach you, to come in and all of
Yeah.
that. So that was one thing. And then honestly, I was surprised when I first read it because so much of it had taken place in the past.
Right.
So I got to kind of learn about her growing up and
Yeah.
seeing like the family and all of that. And then the present was sort of her kind of metabolizing or coming to grips with how she wanted to reconcile things she hadn't reconciled from the past.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a lot, taking it in. It wasn't sort of like, oh my gosh, the excitement of like, oh, it's a Beth episode. It was more like really trying to suss out like how to step into this in a way that felt like I could do it, justice. You know what I'm saying? In terms of what they were writing and what they were looking for.
Let me ask you then, let's get into the casting of it because your mama in the show, she good. She good.
She's all right. You know what I'm saying?
She's
like,
solid. She's got a future.
Which were you more excited about, dancing or your mama?
I was excited about my mama. And here's the thing about that. People know the stories of me and Felicia now probably, backwards and forwards. But the truth is, I thought that they must have read about Felicia and my history and thought this would be a great idea.
Yeah.
When I went to them, they had no idea. They did not know I knew her.
Right.
Can you regale people who might not know that story what your history is with Felicia?
So Felicia is, of course, a Howard alumni, as I am.
HU.
And she taught a master class when I was at Howard. And I was able to take one of those classes. And that's the first time that I had met her. And it was incredible, like what she was able to help me to achieve in this one class. And we all kind of like glommed on and stayed in touch with her. And she has been instrumental in so much of our coming up in the business and in terms of us being sort of trained, not sort of, but being trained as actors. She's been such an advocate and a force for so many of us coming out of Howard. And at one point in time, I had asked her to be my mentor because I was like, is that okay if I came to you with, things that I have questions about or just want to talk? Like I've been to her house and sat down and we had a real relationship. She knows my mama. She loves my mama.
Yeah.
Like, we've worked together. There was so much. We just had like such a history.
Huh.
And so for them to not have known that just was, to me, another indication of how in touch and thoughtful and smart and just instincts, their instincts were so on point. That whole writer's room and, casting, all of it was just, the instinct was like unparalleled because putting that together without knowing just blew my mind.
Yeah.
They also know that you're Jamaican and whatnot. And I know you didn't get a chance to have any scenes with Mr. Lumbly, but I remember you saying like that they actually took the time to find someone who's from the island to play your dad.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I was going to call him on that. I was like, please, Jesus, I can't hear another bad Jamaican accent in my lifetime. Lord have mercy. Somebody on this planet got to act and speak patois. Somebody. So they were able to, I text Kay about that too. I said, I was sitting with a friend in her living room and she's Jamaican as well as one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
And we were just gabbing about it, like, wow, and it's, Jamaican or whatever. And she was like, is he going to be authentic Jamaican? And I was like, girl, you're right. Let me go on text this. And I asked Kay, and she was like, yep, he's from Jamaica. And I just thought, wow, show really cares.
Yeah, it means a lot.
Like, really care about, some people would, listen, we had people who really had our back and wanted stories to feel really authentic. And it meant a lot, I'm sure, to the audience, but, to me as the actor.
Let me ask you one more before we delve into the episode. Had you met Rachel before, and what did you think of that young lady and her portrayal in the past?
I hadn't met Rachel.
Yeah.
I like your tone too, SK. It's like making me so cool and relaxed. You got something. I hadn't met Rachel, and when we saw each other, the funny thing is I went to one of her scenes as she was doing one of her scenes.
Yeah.
And she was like in the bedroom or something, and like she just had interaction with Felicia. She was in her bedroom looking in the mirror. Something was going on. And we met each other. And the wild thing is that neither of us thought we looked alike. And she was like, I so don't look like you. And I was like, I know we don't really, look alike like that. But I was like, but something about it feels like,
Oh, yeah.
the essence of something.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I have never been told so much, by my own family included, that I look like somebody more than Rachel. Like,
Yeah. I'm going to tell you
they
something.
pop that contact
It's
in
the
her eye.
contact.
mold.
It's the
Yeah.
contact.
They put the
on and
mold in
popping.
her ear and her eye, and I was like, "Oh snap! Where they get a little
Yeah,
silver?"
it's on and popping. So but I was just a fan of her work. Her acting is just
Yeah.
fantastic. And she was a fantastic dancer. I was
Yeah,
like,
she
she's
must
got
have
it
had
all.
ballet history, right? I mean,
A
I thought
1,000%,
I
'cause she
thought
was
you
already
did
on
too. By
point.
the way, I didn't realize.
I did. I have some, but I left it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did like what I needed to do to sort of, in the
Sure.
school that I went to, you had to take ballet in order to take anything else. It was
Right.
sort of like a foundation.
Gotcha.
So I did as much as I needed to do so that I could take
Got it.
other.
Speaking of dancing, how long did you have to train to learn that sequence that sort of happens at the end?
Woo! Okay. So that was about 4 months.
Wow.
And it was so, like, we trained like a few times a week for months to do it. And I even like on Thanksgiving, I think it was around then, like I rented out a studio when I was back in New York and like trained through the holiday and did all that. And it was pretty intense because I was hoping that it would look as much like, the ballerina as I could. But
it did.
Yeah,
but
it
yeah,
did.
we trained a while for it.
I have an anecdote about it when we get to it because I remember conversations with my on-set betrothed that were, she's like, SK, I worked real hard on this thingamajigger. I'm really excited to do it. I just hope they use it in the show and everything. I said, well, Sue, I'm going to come watch you do your thing. She's like, SK, you ain't got to come do that. I was like, girl, I'm going to come watch you do your thing. And it was such a, like, when you put in that time and that work or whatnot, and, Anne, our director, was a dancer as well, right? Didn't she? She has a dance background as well,
Fletcher,
whatnot.
Yeah, musicals and all that. Yeah.
But to see Sue do her thing and shine in that thing, right? Because I do remember after it was over, she was like, SK, they cut half the thingamajigger. You barely even see it in one day.
I was gonna get to that part. Actually. I was like, yeah, because it was like I was gonna get to that when we got to the dance part. But I remember asking Dan, I was like, we sure didn't do a lot of dance for the amount that got in there.
I feel a lot more tired than that edit looks.
It is one of the things because I feel you on that in terms of how the edit, but it doesn't. Nothing feels like it's missing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when as a fan rewatching it, like having had
Say
the
that to
conversation
Susan.
with you.
Go ahead, say that to Susan.
Having had the conversation with you, it feels complete and beautiful and friggin' awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so, but we
It's
will,
so moving.
I will go find Dan and say, I need the unedited footage
Yes.
of Susan's dance so we can show people how Moss truly gets down. So you'll get that. Okay, I got you.
Well, I've never seen the unedited. And I think a part of me thought like, well, maybe it just wasn't good enough in terms of like the ballet of it.
Nope.
So I never watched it. But I will say, full heart and soul went into it.
Yeah.
And so
That's clear.
It taught me a big lesson about television and sort of what my part is and then how I have to give it over.
Yes. I feel you. Yeah.
And you got to take the heartbreaks. It's a heartbreak to see something like that. And you go, man, you know what I mean? And then you see that and you go, okay, And I have to now process that and let that go. So it did do a lot in terms of how I approached work
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel
it
you.
taught
The
a lesson in
expectation that
moment.
we have
Yeah.
sometimes.
Put in about half as much effort after that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now,
Yeah.
you know, after that, I only trained like one session per.
We phoned it in. We phoned it in. Who wants to lead this episode in terms of like delving into it?
No.
Because
Jump in.
I think we should go through Susan's timeline.
let's go through it.
Yeah.
And that way, if we can go as long as we want, quote unquote, but when she has to leave, then if we have to get to other stuff, we can do it
You
after
talking
No,
that.
I text. I'm good.
All right.
We're in.
I mean, the show kicks off with a classic This Is Us.
Introduction.
Wait, who's this?
Yeah,
Well, that's Phylicia Rashad.
that's it.
Well, why is she in the show?
And then you hear someone say Principal Clark, and you're like, okay, wait a
Okay.
second.
yeah.
All right. And then we
sh-
see throughout this sequence a woman hurt her hip.
Yeah, someone slams her into
Little boy just runs down the steps like he don't know where, got no home training or nothing. And she just, I love Phylicia Rashad's expressions of pain. I love her expression. Because it's like she doesn't want to show anything. She's like, I'm fine, so and so. Why don't you go into class? She is. I love her. Like
Yeah.
everything about her is regal.
Yeah,
You know what
so
I'm saying?
regal.
Whether you are the principal of a
Yep.
high school, you can be a lawyer married to a doctor.
Yeah.
You can be married to a treasurer. She is regal.
Yeah.
I
It
just
just
wrote,
comes out.
she is someone you do not want to disappoint.
No, there you go.
In the classic This Is Us tradition of bringing television legends into our sphere,
Yeah.
she is the
ultimate.
matriarch of television.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Truly.
end of story.
Truly.
Yeah.
Point blank period. We cut to Beth and Zoe.
driving to DC.
They're listening to a little TLC, getting down.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember we were picking the song because we had to find something we could both like jam on.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And we were choosing what did we land on? Was about what about your friends?
It's what about your friends? Yeah.
Okay, yes. I remember us choosing. Did Mel know the lyrics?
Probably not. She's British.
You know, she a Brit, man. Did she know the lyrics? But you know, TLC was worldwide. Let me not try to play
This
Mel.
is
She
true.
might
Yeah.
know the lyrics.
Well, here's the other question though. What else do you remember being in the running?
Because the network probably had to approve something.
Totally.
Yeah, you have to like approve. What were we looking? We were looking for like sort of, I guess, 90s songs.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like
Sure.
what was hot that we would have listened to as kids.
Okay.
And so I think it might have been like which groups or
Yeah.
something like that.
right.
But TLC, there was more than one song.
Yeah.
And then we were trying to find something that felt like that had a bit of a sisterly something
Sure.
in it.
Yeah.
You know, or
So
something
not
that
let's
felt
talk about sex.
like that.
Okay.
So what about your friends felt like it
Yeah.
fit.
What about your friends?
This is a good call.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
In the midst of this,
Right.
Yeah.
in the midst of you guys grooving and whatnot, you're kind of talking about you're gonna lay down the law. You're gonna lay down the law with me, right? Because you have to have a conversation with your mom about the possibility of retiring, taking it easy. You know, you're getting up there in age. You just hurt yourself not too long ago. You hurt yourself again. Maybe you need to slow down.
Yeah.
But there's something that happens typically, and Zoe sort of points to this, that like you tend to clam up once you get around your mom. And it's interesting how we fall into these roles. We're all grown
Yep.
ass human beings, right?
Yep.
But every once in a while, when you get into your family, you become like
Yeah.
whatever age you were when last you were in that
Yeah.
that present.
Sure.
Does that happen for anybody?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah?
I am a 45-year-old, 12-year-old. Yeah.
More That Was Us after this short break.
Ever try finding a needle in a haystack?
Sometimes I can't even find my keys in my own purse.
Come on, Mandy.
You guys are crazy.
Sorry.
It's true. I can't either. But that's what hiring can feel like, is trying to find that needle in that haystack. You get hundreds of resumes and none of them fit the job. Or they're perfect, except they live 3 states away and want to work remotely from a treehouse.
But not with ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter finds amazing candidates for you fast. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/TWU.
As soon as you post a job, ZipRecruiter's smart technology starts matching you with qualified people instantly. You don't even have to wait for folks to find you. You can reach out first.
ZipRecruiter lets you send a pre-written invite to apply so your top picks know you're interested. It's like flipping the haystack upside down so that needle basically jumps out at you.
Ditch the other hiring sites and let ZipRecruiter find what you're looking for, the needle in the haystack. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Try it for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/TWU. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/TWU. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Do you know what summer always reminds me of?
What?
When I was a kid, my family would caravan cross country together.
Caravan?
4 or 5 vehicles,
Wow.
right? My uncle, who was in charge of it, would hook up the CB radios for everybody so we could communicate amongst each
No
other.
way.
And we would road trip to Orlando. My family is from Arkansas, so we would go to Arkansas. We would go to New Mexico. We've gone to Denver, Colorado. We went to Los Angeles one time. We went to the Redwood Forest. Like every summer, my family got together and had these wonderful, wonderful road trips. And as we're watching This Is Us and reliving the Pearson family cabin, it just makes you appreciate how much the place matters when you're making those memories.
Totally. It's not just the destination, it's where you stay.
Yes.
Having a home where you can crash after a long day, cook a big meal together, just hang out, that's the stuff you remember.
And that is why we love staying at Airbnbs when we travel. It gives you the real, we're all in this together feeling that you just can't get in a hotel.
And while you're out there this summer, whether it's visiting your favorite place or exploring a new one, your own home could be hosting someone else's adventure. Hosting on Airbnb is an easy way to open your space when you're away.
You're in control when you host, how you host, and Airbnb makes it really simple to get started. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
Sue, you get a chance to see your family with a bit more regularity because you guys are in the same city and whatnot. Do you feel like your mom, your actual mom, has done a better job of allowing you to grow up? Or do you think she still sees you at a certain point in your development?
My mom still stays momming. You know what I'm saying? Like she's going to stay, like that's her position. I don't think she's ever going to not do that. There's a protective side of her that always wants to be protective. I declared my independence like pretty young. Okay. So I don't feel like I get around her and feel like I have to sort of play the position of a child, but there is a position of respect.
Sure.
That I very much endow that relationship with, and sort of a spirit of kind of letting things be, I guess what they are now. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, just having that respect, knowing, just an understanding of who my mom is. Like, I'm not trying to really change my mom. You know what I'm saying? And I'm hoping she's not trying to change me.
That's interesting.
But I really do, you know, the little wins I get. Like my mom is like drinking more water now. You know what I'm saying? Like I got she got coconut water in her life. I feel good. She's hydrated.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like those type of things I can kind of work with her, but who she is and who I am, you know, I just be hoping that respect is there, that we could both just be those things. And, you know, when things are great, it's great. If something feels a little like annoying, it's like, all right, you know, we're grown. It is what it is at this point. Yeah. But our relationship now, I think, at least for me, feels like from my adult positioning.
It feels good. Right. I got you. The last thing that Beth, we find out is that Beth has not told her mom that she's lost her job.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So we just know that a little bit. Now, gang, I need your help here.
Sure.
Do we stay in the present or do we go back and forth?
Stay in the present.
Let's stay in the present. Let's finish this storyline, yeah.
Okay. They make it to the house. They're looking for the key. They're supposed to be under the rock. Here comes old regal Felicia, excuse me. Just like, what y'all doing rooting around my house? Why don't you come on in here? And they're like, hey, Mama C. Hey, Mama, good to see you, whatnot. They're like, what you doing walking around? She's like, what you gonna tell me that I'm supposed to not be walking around? Da, da, da. Like she has no time for pity, for any sort of like illustration of weakness or whatnot. It's like everything that is about her is I'm fine. I'm here to take care of you, right?
Yeah.
Like it's an interesting thing because well, I don't know if we all know this, but there comes a point in time in our sort of evolution where the kid becomes the person that takes care of the adult, right? Mama C is not ready for that.
To hand it over.
No.
No.
She's like, I'm going to go heat up dinner for you guys.
Yes.
She's ready to just like take the lead.
Any other thoughts on this scene, Sue? Because you was the one that was in it.
No, keep going.
This was the first time as an audience member for myself where I realized, like I knew that you and Zoe, Beth and Zoe grew up together. I didn't realize that you grew up together.
Yeah, like
you know
under
what I
the
mean?
same roof.
Like it wasn't, I don't know why it wasn't clear to me in my mind, but I was like, oh, this is way more close than I realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a sister relationship rather than even cousins.
Yeah.
Well, because
Yeah.
we do know from the backstory that she had evidently spent some time with her parents.
Yes.
Until she had to
Of course.
not spend time.
Of course.
Yes.
And they talk about that a little bit later in their scene in the washroom.
It just wasn't visualized to me until these flashbacks.
Exactly.
But I was
Seeing
like,
them
oh,
like
this
around
is
the
like- yeah.
dinner table together. And
My favorite part of the flashbacks is that you have 3 siblings and we don't see none of them. Like, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, we don't meet anybody.
But then there's an explanation for it too, which we will get to, right? So Beth is looking at pictures in the house, and it's the first time that we realize, because she's looking at the pictures of her younger self as a dancer, and with a certain level of wistfulness, and we're sort of understanding like this was
One of them was me too, by the way.
was it
My
really?
little tutu. Yeah, there's like a
Nice.
blue tutu picture in there. and
I
that was me.
love it.
Sweet.
Easter egg.
I love it because like we're recognizing that this was indeed a big part of her past, right? And that's up until this point, urban planning is what we've known about Beth.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? She's been the rock for her husband and
Yes.
everything. And part of who she is has almost been defined in terms of like what she does for the family, for her husband, as a mother, et cetera, but not what is Beth.
As an individual.
Who is Beth?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As an individual, right? So that's pretty cool.
So they're sitting at the dinner table.
Oh, we at the dinner table.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this. Okay, so we're at the dinner table, right?
Yes.
And Mama C cooks us curry chicken.
Yes.
I believe,
Yes.
Yep.
for the
Correct.
dinner. So I had the biggest back and forth with Kay and Ebony
Ebony, yeah.
about the spice that goes in the curry chicken. And I was like, they had it as like habanero peppers. And I said, y'all,
Not the word.
it can't be habanero.
Yeah.
It's not giving Jamaican.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we Googled it and it's habanero. I said, I don't know about a Google. I know what is in Jamaican is going to be Scotch bonnet, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, and I mean, we really went back and forth. And I said, y'all, we got to do the Scotch bonnet. If you want people to be like, oh, wow, they was really authentic, put the Scotch bonnet. So they eventually changed it to Scotch bonnet. And I promise you, there were people on my Instagram page.
Yes.
Like, wow, and y'all had the Scotch bonnet in there too. Wow, I just knew that. I mean, people really, one thing Jamaicans are going to pay attention to is details.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it is a big deal with them. With us, it's like, it's all about the little details.
Yeah.
And so to put that in there as well really resonated with with that dinner. It's a very traditional, Jamaican dinners, rice and peas and curry goat and whatever, maybe vegetable that would go on the side.
It's also one of those things where I have to give the show credit because like there's little things that happen all the time. But like when you do say something, they were like, guys, just hear me on this one.
Yeah.
And there's like, all right, we know what we know and we know what we don't know. So let's like take the input of everybody involved to try to make the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You always feel heard, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're always considered and you're always heard. Yeah.
So you guys do the Scotch bonnet. The chicken is on point. You try to begin the retirement conversation, not going super well. And then it takes Zoe. Zoe's like a blunt force instrument. She's like, you're like, you need to retire, right? Like we're concerned about you. Maybe not retire fully, but do something to take care of yourself. Mom turns to her and says, what do you know about a job?
Ooh. Yikes.
This woman is like, you looking at me with your little documentaries or something. You pop up and do movies. You don't know nothing about no job. Me and my daughter know about a job. She been showing up every day. Her life has purpose because she wakes up and does something because that's how I raised her. And you say, well, actually, I ain't been going to my job for a few months now.
Right.
Yeah, I was laid off.
Yep.
Record skip.
Also, I feel like this is the first time this episode that we've learned Beth is Bethany. I found that really interesting because, I mean, you're Beth. You're Beth.
Totally.
Like, everyone calls you Beth, but like hearing your mom say like your full legal name, there's something about that feels very intentional.
Yeah.
Bethany.
Yeah.
Bethany,
Bethany.
Bethany. Yeah, exactly.
Because even if we don't fall back into these roles, sometimes there are parents who like to keep us.
Yes.
And there's a certain way of
That's right.
calling a name or treating a person that will put them back in their place.
I think for Mama C, it's imperative for her because it keeps her in her same position.
Right.
She doesn't have to feel like she's getting older or things are changing for her. She can like still sort of let everybody know, things are still the same around here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like she's very much in a position to handle herself and handle this family.
I feel you.
We've been talking about over the last couple episodes about the generational differences between, especially in this world, between the grown-up Pearson kids and their spouses and the generation before, and how unemotional, that somebody Jack is really trying to break that cycle, right? You can see him actively trying to break the cycle of what his extremely abusive and unemotional father had tried to instill in him. But this is the first time I think that we've seen like a kind of an emotionally buttoned up matriarch from the generation before that is showing a really different angle on why that generation is that way.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, there's even something, and we'll get to it more specifically, but I remember my mom telling me something about the way in which she disciplined me with corporal punishment, right? And I say discipline because I never felt abused or any other thing like that. She had to prepare me for the world that she was about to send me out into. And she would often say, the world is, if I don't do it, the world will beat you up worse than I will right now. That was one point. And the other thing that she would say is, I don't have time to talk all this stuff through. I'm a single mom raising this boy. Like, I need you to do what I need you to do when I need you to do it. Okay? Like all this talk.
Yeah.
I got to go to work.
We don't have time.
You got to go to school. I don't have time.
Don't have the luxury.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, I think, something that sort of like Mama C even echoes herself later on in this episode, right?
That's right.
So wait, where were we, Mandy Moore? Come on, keep me on track.
Well, I was just going to say that Mom jumps right into like, all right, we're going to figure out these next steps. Like, we're going to get on and we're going to look at your resume. We're going to type it up. We're going to get it printed or whatever she said. And you, I think, jump in. You're like, what? Like, what year is this? We're going to print up my resume and like mail it out to people.
Yeah.
But it's just like, that's the way she does. It's like onward and upward and like the trajectory is forward and we don't have time to like wallow and we're going to figure this out together. And
does Beth say something to her like, what if I don't want your help? Does she say that in that section? Do you remember this, what I'm talking about?
I don't. I feel like if this is the section where it's just me and her at the table.
It's later.
And we're kind of, I'm standing, she's sitting, and we're kind of going back and forth.
I don't think so. I think that's later.
It's later. What I'm thinking about is later. I'll get to it. I'm not going to jump through there. Because before we get to that, you are laying awake in bed, and then Zoe comes to you and is like, come on, I got to show you something. Turns out there is, how long does weed last?
I don't know.
I don't smoke enough to know, like, is there?
I thought the same thing. I was like.
That was some vintage ass weed that was in there. Okay.
Yeah. And how many times have we seen Beth get high on this show now?
This is number 2.
Number 2, okay.
This is number 2.
Of all people, this is number 2. Yeah, and now, but she stores stuff at her house, apparently.
Yeah.
Old habits die hard.
There's a real habit forming here.
It does bring one of my favorite.
The laugh.
The Beth high laugh
is the best.
And I want to know
We don't ask people to do impressions on this show, but if we could get one of those laughs, that would be great.
Laugh, it makes.
Is it like?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That laugh is from like my child. That is from growing up. That is
Really?
like, it is from something like very specific. And I have to remember what it is. But I wonder if it was from. I mean, was I ever like lie and laugh like that? I don't know. But like, it's from something very specific. And I remember thinking to myself, oh, that would make like a good high laugh. I remember working with Ron
Actor's mind.
Yes.
Actor's
in
mind
the
right
episode
there.
in season 2. And I was just talking about this the other day in rehearsal. And I was talking about how, because they were talking about rehearsing scenes and stuff. And I remember being with Ron and we would be off set rehearsing that episode together. And I remember like talking with him and going through and kind of like, playing around with how we were going to be high and all this kind of stuff. And I remember that laugh kind of emerging in that basement. And so it was definitely like this callback to it, I guess, from remembering like how she was when she was, high then. You kind of, I would imagine, stay consistent, right? So the laugh came back.
That's your laugh.
It's the laugh heard around the
Found
world.
its way back.
Yeah.
It's the only way that you can excuse that laugh. You got to be high.
It's
It's the
laugh like that.
greatest laugh.
Otherwise, people are like, please shut up.
Yeah.
No.
It's like
I love
sweet. It was like a little sweet Seth Rogen.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But the scene is also like really lovely because it sort of frames Zoe's relationship to Mama C vis-a-vis her own children and sort of what she came from. Like Zoe was also always sort of just kind of mouthing off in a way that like Mama C's kids would never do.
Yeah, she got away with.
She got away with it. She got a little bit more latitude. And I think because there was a recognition of what she was coming from. Yeah. And for those of you who don't remember, like she was abused by her father, sexually abused by her father. And I think, so now she's coming to a family that has stability and warmth. And even though you have this very strong matriarch, she's able to give this young girl a little bit more leeway than she does with her own children because this young lady was just coming from an awful, awful situation.
Sure.
Right? And we say it without saying it in the scene, which I thought was really quite lovely and beautiful the way that they
I love that when you don't have to spell everything out. It's like, if you know, you know. If you've been watching the show, you understand the history here.
Exactly.
Right.
But then she was talking about like, she was harder on you guys.
Yeah, she was. I mean, I think Beth resented that a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like, why did I, kind of get the brunt of it? Or, why does she feel like she's in a position where she can't really say? Why does she have to be the one to clam up?
Right.
Why, can Zoe feel free to come in the house and kind of be bold and, sort of be her authentic self? And I had to somehow find a permission to do that. And to me, that was sort of what the episode became. It was like about Beth finding her permission to re-engage with who she was outside of motherhood, outside of wifedom, outside of this box that she had found herself in and wanted to kind of paint herself out of. And sort of one of the last hurdles was really confronting the place where she felt like she had started to feel boxed in, which was at home, which was in dance, the way that she had experienced those things at that time. And now she realizes like, those things really mean a lot to me. It was just the way that I experienced them.
Yeah.
And now I want to give whether I have my mother's permission or not, I want to give myself the permission, And now, Mom, I'm just putting you on notice.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And to find the courage to do that. As you said, it's hard to go back to a house that you grew up in and try to break out of the mold that they have you in. That's a difficult thing to do, to try to find a voice outside of the voice that you've established and that they know you to have, the voice that makes the family function in the way that it does. And to go back and say, no, and hopefully we can create something sort of new out of this. That felt like what her real journey was.
Right.
Yeah.
Throughout it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Just trying to find that and trying to unlock within herself, basically, her own permission.
Yeah. I mean, because Zoe says to you, she goes, something bigger is going on with you and you need to talk about it, right? So, yeah.
In order to talk about the next scene, we should jump back a little bit to the past because they talk about Beth losing her father, right? She comes home one day and they break the news that her father has lung cancer to her and Zoe. And it's another kind of real display of Mama C's exacting nature, the term we learned earlier, of just how like, this is the problem, this is how we're going to deal with it.
Yeah.
And this is how you're all going to deal with it.
Right.
So we learn this information, and then your father sits down to tell the story of when Beth started to dance, and talks about Burning Spear, Dread River, and how, and this is where we get the title of the episode.
Yeah. Little island girl who danced before she walked. She was 18 months. Listen, I'd be concerned. My kid wasn't walking at 18 months. I was like, hey, get up.
Yeah.
She just needed the music. She needed the motivation.
She just needed the music. Once the music was there, it came naturally, right?
Yeah.
But there's this wonderful sort of juxtaposition of young Beth as she was leaving her dad after she wipes her tears and gave him a hug. And she says, Dad. And she's waiting, he's waiting for her to say something else. And she goes, never mind. And then we flash back to that. And then we see Sue, present day Beth. And she says all the things kind of
that she wanted to say to her dad.
That she needed. And Mandy Moore was saying this off camera.
Yeah.
We need to say it on camera or whatnot. Hey, man, you killed it.
This is in the Mount Rushmore of This Is Us scenes.
It's not easy, too, because, like, on screen...
Thanks, y'all.
On screen, it's like, oh, everything is edited and whatnot. And really what's happening is the sister's talking to a chair. But the chair is endowed. Right? It's not just a chair. Like, she's talking to the spirit, the presence of the...
Sure.
Like, I can't be who I am without you.
Yeah.
Duh.
Can you tell us about that day of shooting, that moment?
It felt fast, you know? It didn't feel as long as it, I think, even played out. It felt fast, but I do remember the room sort of being very sort of mood lit. It felt kind of dark. And the idea of what she was saying goodbye to her, or her again, sort of trying to bring some kind of closure or shift to chapters in the past in her life was so moving to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm close with both my parents. I understand what that is. I understand now what it is to lose a parent. But then it was the idea of even that was and then trying to reconcile from this place of physical disconnect was just like really moving to me. And so those are like the bits and pieces of it that I remember. And sort of, it's funny, I remember it being an empty chair.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like it was.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
totally
It did feel like it wasn't.
sort of filled with something or presence or that understanding of like sometimes, you know, all this happens to all of us when we're alone and there's these imagined conversations we wish we could have, and our imagination is so vivid it almost feels as if we're really speaking to that person.
It's interesting.
And so I personally love storytelling where we get a chance to see people in their aloneness and the reality of what that is, because it's such an intimacy that we're not usually exposed to, because obviously we're all doing it alone.
Yeah.
And so I always find those moments really fascinating and really vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like you can be your most vulnerable because it's as if nobody was watching. And so I remember thinking, you know, about those things. This is a very alone moment. So it can be as vulnerable as it needs to be.
Yeah. It was in him in the past telling you the story of who you are and telling you not to forget who you are. One of the first things you say is, I'm going to forget. I'm going to forget that part of me. Because, I mean, me as a TV husband / audience member watching, I was like, I didn't know dance was this important to you, Beth. Which is one of the moments that comes later. Again, this is one of the most indelible moments in my mind, is when I tell her to put a pin in it. I was like, oh, we didn't show them the little island girl. We didn't show how important all this stuff is to her. And this Negro gonna ask her to put a pin in it. I was like, this ain't gonna go my way. This ain't gonna go my way.
No.
Yeah, we've already seen that episode, sir. Sorry. More That Was Us after these words from our sponsors.
Hold on, everyone. Let's set the mood right.
There we go. And cheers to the moments that deserve good wine and not having to stare blankly at a wall of bottles in the grocery store.
Yes.
Seriously. And that's why we're big fans of Naked Wines. It's like discovering those amazing bottles you only find on vacation, but delivered straight to your door.
Naked Wines connect you directly with independent winemakers all over the world. So you're getting incredible wines, sometimes up to 60% less than you would pay in stores, because there's no middleman marking it all up.
We just had a wonderful 4th of July vacation with my Italian brother-in-law.
Oh.
So one of the Naked Wines that we opened was a nice Italian Montepulciano.
Oh, I love that pronunciation,
Beautiful.
sir.
Thank you.
I mean, it's summertime, so to me, that always says rosé. I had a delicious bottle of rosé that was delivered in my Naked Wines delivery, and fantastic, crisp, just delightful for this time of year.
I love that for you. I'm a cab / Pinot kind of man.
Yeah.
And it's really just because it goes with my red meat.
Yeah.
Me and red meat go hand in hand, and a
That's
nice
right.
bottle of red with that is always nice. Naked Wines has been around for over 15 years, supporting more than 90 indie winemakers who get to focus on crafting amazing wine, not fighting for shelf space.
It comes perfectly delivered at the right temperature, straight to the house.
Yeah.
Ding dong. No need to go anywhere.
Who's there?
What's that? Is that 6 bottles of wine?
What's going on?
To pick a variety of whites and reds and rosés and kind of like everything in between. I mean, you just never know who you're going to have over, what people want. So having a variety stocked is very important.
Always ready to entertain. And honestly, there's nothing better than cracking open a bottle, putting away your phone, and just being present with the people you love. Right? Am I right?
Yep.
Am I right? Sterling, am I right?
Sterling says
So,
yes.
listen, if you're ready to level up your wine game,
Now is the time to join Naked Wines community. Head to nakedwines.com/TWU. Click enter voucher and put in our code TWU for both the code and password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. That's $100 off your first 6 bottles at nakedwines.com/TWU. And use the code and password TWU for 6 bottles of wine for $39.99.
So then
the next morning.
it's 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Beth doesn't, this is when Beth tells her mom that she doesn't want her help. She's like, I'm about to send out these resumes. We're going to do this. And she's like, what if I don't want your help? It's like, what would you had us do? Wallow in our grief. Okay, so that was in response to, and so you can talk about this scene because you're the one there, but it was like, you're kind of talking about, we just kept moving forward. Like, Dad passed away and we just sort of like pulled it together. There was no time for tears, no time for anything else. We just kind of like had to like keep the trajectory going. And your mom was like, what were we supposed to do? Just sit around and wallow in the grief? It almost feels, and I don't know if we've set this up, seems very interesting between like the Pearsons and the Clarks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will accuse the big three of like, can y'all get over it? You know what I'm saying? Like, can the big three move a little quicker?
Yeah.
Because the Clarks are done.
Yeah.
We're already done with this stuff.
What would you have us do? Make 7 seasons of a TV show about the death of your father? You can't go on for that many episodes.
Would
Bethany?
never work.
It would never work to wallow that long. People
Nobody
wouldn't
wants to watch
it.
that.
Yeah.
But talk to us a little bit, Sue, because it was such a huge scene, and it finally sort of like showing up with your mom in a way that was like, listen, I can't shrink anymore. This shrinking has not served me in my life. Like the shrinking is actually sort of caused the atrophy of me not actively pursuing the thing that makes me feel most like me.
Oh, that's it, right? That's it. It's really the shift that happens in their relationship happens at the table, you know, in the middle of the night. And it was so necessary. It's like this face off. But you know what I really remember is is acting opposite Phylicia Rashad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
you know, she really is masterful at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know we all know this, but I really have to say it. And as an actor with her, that's a lot of what I remember is being able to like, oh my gosh, you know, you could play, name any sport, tennis, basketball, with like one of the best players, you know?
Yeah.
And so the thought is like, where could this scene go?
Right.
Let's just take it to wherever the F is going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like see what this is. Let's like blow this ish wide open. I don't know if y'all curse on the show or not, but let's blow it wide open. and I have somebody to do that with. And also like, as an actor in the scene, like how far can I take, like what else can I discover in this? Because here's somebody who I can do that with.
Right.
Or who, you know, that there's an ease in doing that with. That was me as the artist in the scene. As the character, it was very, it was like her moment of sort of liberation in a way. It's like, you know, she's hearing her voice. Her mom is finally hearing her voice.
Yeah.
Her voice is breaking free, you know?
Yeah.
And it was a much longer scene. I remember going back and forth with Dan about it because Dan had cut a lot. And I said, Dan, no, you need this, you need that. He's like, no, Sue, it's like a double beat. We get it, you know, whatever. And I was like, really? I felt like, oh, there was so much more I wanted to like say. There was parts of it that we don't see that I felt like, oh, I felt like that was the meat of it. But in what we got and what we captured, I think was so filled and so fraught with so much of the emotions that Beth was dealing with, and also what her mother was, you know, discovering about her, and sort of this loop that she was being thrown for, that it played through. And so it was, that one was very, very memorable for me.
Yeah. I mean, facing off with, I mean, even though you're friends, facing off with, I'd be afraid to tell Phylicia Rashad anything.
Yeah.
About anything. Because as soon as she responded, I'd be like, no, that's right. What you said is right. Yeah.
But that's what she'd been her whole life. You know what I mean? It was like, right, you're right. You know, shut it down. And then this was the chance to, you know, trying to go, okay, no, we're you know, I'm going for this. I'm going for it.
There's a couple of lines that I put quotations around that just sort of stuck out in my head. In reference to dance, you didn't have to take it from me. It hit like, because we'll talk about it in the past storyline and whatnot, but it was such an abrupt thing. Yeah. Like, this is what we're gonna do. You've taken that as far as you can go, and now I need to prepare you for this, right? Yeah. And it was done out of love. That's the thing that we have to remember, right? Like, it may not have been the thing that she wanted, but in her mind, she thought it was the most loving thing to do to make sure that her daughter had a path forward through life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Setting her up for success.
Setting her up for success.
I thought about this a lot watching from a parental perspective.
Yeah.
Because Rachel and I both grew up in competitive activities, right? Rachel was a competitive gymnast.
She was a gymnast.
Tennis. And I was a competitive tennis player, right? To this point, right? To this point where, like, it would be hard for me to explain to anyone just the amount of time and energy put into one of these things if you didn't know me back then. Yeah. And now with kids, it makes me wonder at what point, if as you're watching this person develop, I don't know if you can pull the plug anymore. Can you pull the plug in the 2000s? Can you be like, I have to tell you something, son. You're not good at this. Or being the lead of a ballet company is no longer possible. Right. Like, this is where this story ends. Right. Like, it's just because you can see, even though Mama C is direct and upfront, it's and a little harsh. There's love in it. Yeah. There's protection in it. And so it was a tricky tricky thing to watch and tricky thing to watch and be like, well, how would I apply that to future scenarios?
Anybody, any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
Ladies, you got that's a real question. You guys got any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I feel like I'm in a similar boat. How do you navigate those waters?
Yeah.
I can say this. So I'm not there yet. Like I'm not a dream killer. Like as a rule, I'm not. I'm not a dream killer. But I see. I got two sons, and they have different skill sets. Some overlap, and some are, the separate ones. I always just try to highlight a path that I think will be successful, right? I never try to eliminate the other path. I always just try to highlight, like, hey man, you're so good. When I get a chance to see you do this, there's a natural sort of proclivity, and the more you work at it, the better you get at it, et cetera, et cetera.
Why does Dad keep leaving these ping pong paddles around?
Not so subtle hints.
But things like that instead of the abruptness, because so here's a quick story, and I think I may have shared this before, or I've said this in another time. Maybe I'll touch on it quickly. Arlene Brown, my dear, 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 sweet, sweet mama, who I love to pieces. She wanted to be a doctor. I think I said this before, and because she was the oldest born of her 5 siblings, but not the oldest born son, so her dad would not pay for her to go to school to pursue anything, like even in the medicinal area. So her younger brother, who's a year younger, said, I want to be a doctor. And he was able to afford pharmacy school for him, right? So whereas mom went on to go to teacher's college, which was a very popular profession for Black women of that time and whatnot, has a few different master's degrees, it wasn't what she wanted to do. When I came from economics to drama, at Stanford, and I said, Mom, I think this is what I want to do. There was no hesitation. I think because she was deprived of that dream for herself, of the thing that she saw herself becoming, she
wasn't going to do that.
I ain't going to do that. Like, you going to do this thing. And it didn't matter. Like, success, my mom's definition of success is like a life full of meaning, right? Like, does your life give you, do you have a sense of purpose? Do you have a sense of inspiration in your life that keeps you wanting to wake up the next day to do the thing that you want to do? Like, it's weird that we both were sort of like, oh, money didn't matter, right? And I think she wanted to be a doctor because she liked the idea of healing people and helping people and being of service in that way. She's a really smart woman. And I think she saw me as an actor, and she would always have little notes and give me sort of things, and she thought that she was like some sort of acting guru. Not really, but she's sweet. Like, she had thoughts and opinions, et cetera, but she had so much love that she was like, listen, you do it, right? You prayed about it. God will handle it. I think that's the other thing, is that there was a level of faith on her part that was like, you know what, I may not have all the answers, and I don't know exactly where you need to go to do this thingamajigger, but I do know that God's got you, and we're just gonna ride with that.
Right.
So I just want to shout out. I want to shout her out, like, on this one specifically because she has ALS, does my mom, and for the longest time I didn't know who was gonna go first between Rebecca and Arlene, and now she's been 7 years diagnosed, and still here. And, her body can't do much, but her brain is still present. And I don't know if she listens to the podcast, to be perfectly honest with you, but I want anybody who does listen to the podcast, who knows my mama, I want her on record. The woman, I would not be who I am without her. In this episode about these Black women, I just had to shout out Arlene Brown. That's it. That's all much.
Wow.
Shout out to Arlene Brown.
Shout out.
Thank you.
Shout out to Arlene Brown. Shout out to the parents who are, still trying to do it even under really hard circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad was dealing with Parkinson's while I was on This Is Us and other ailments. And, God bless my mother and father, great team. When I look at it now, the team that they were, but the responsibility that my mother had to take on, she definitely deserves a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And the courage with which my dad continued to live against odds that blew the minds of doctors.
Yeah.
And when you speak about the testimony of God and what can be done, I have to speak about that because I've seen a lot of of miracle things happen, despite what people said could happen.
Yeah.
And a lot of those things, I think, feed who we are as we act, especially in a show like this one. A woman came up to me the other day. I'm jumping, but as we do.
Come on.
Yesterday, I met a woman at Tribeca Film Festival who talked about watching the Train episode 6 times because she's working on a film script right now about a mother and a daughter. And she specifically talked about the scene where I'm saying goodbye to Rebecca, and I'm with Mandy in the room. And I was telling her, I said, it's funny, that was one of the first things when I came back after my father had transitioned and I had to do this scene. And I didn't say, too much on the set about it or whatever, but, it was that and what the things that fuel so much of the show aren't just stories that are kind of ripped from the lives of the public in general. Sometimes it really just hits home for us.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And how do we, allow that to be kind of funneled through into the spirit of our story and what we're doing. So in those last scenes, in those last episodes, so much of the spirit of my father is in there. As she's taking the train home, he was taking the train home, and so shout out to Ozzy Watson, who was my buddy, and shout out to my mother, who was his rider and held him down. And so those things are like, there's so much reflection of that in what we did and what we were doing, and these parental relationships, child parent relationships that are a reminder for me too. Yeah, very much so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ooh, Sue, thank you for sharing that.
Big eyes. A couple other lines from that scene before we get to the next scene between the two of you, which is just as extraordinary, if not even more so. There's no air around you.
Yeah.
There's no air to breathe, no air to be sad, no air to fail.
Yeah.
Right? And she says, but it's okay if you don't like me, because you make mention about how your other brothers and sisters don't come around. It's because of the lack of air. She's like, it's okay if they don't like me because I had to prepare them for to be in the world and to be good in the world. And you're like, I'm not good, Mom. I am not good. I haven't had my head in the clouds for years.
Yeah.
My husband, he dreams, right? And like that seems like such a small thingamajig, but like the way you describe, like, I haven't had my head in the clouds for years. It's such a luxury, but it's not just a luxury. It's kind of a necessity in order to let your soul flourish while you're in this human form, to be able to dream.
Yeah.
Anybody want to say something about that?
Well,
what else is there to say, my friend?
It made me think. I was like, when's the last time that I really dreamed? Like, there is something about the innocence and the childlike sort of permission that we're given and almost expected as a kid to dream and to daydream and like think about the future. And it reminded me too. I was like, wow, there is something so intoxicating about having that like privilege of doing it. You know what I mean? Of carving out that time, of being very intentional about making that a mission. That I think is lost on us as we get older. It's just like life is lifing, and we're parents, and we're busy with careers and obligations and bills and stress, and it's just like everything around us is conditioned to take us out of that state of being. And this, just thinking about Beth relaying that to her mom and really like pleading for herself. I was like, wow, I think that's something that would do us all a wealth of good. To put more of an onus and an emphasis on dreaming and bringing that into the forefront of our daily lives too. It does feel essential, you know?
That's right.
Amen.
That's what this episode's about. Dreaming.
Yes.
I think it is. It's like, also like permission, like you said, just piggybacking on what you're saying, it's like permission to dream even after becoming the wife and the mom. Dream even after graduating from college and being the, what was her job again?
She was the city urban planner.
There you go. Being the urban planner. You know what I'm
And
saying?
this is and not just the episode, the entire show is about finding a partner who helps you do that.
Right.
That's beautiful. Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's the beauty of it.
The last few scenes in this show, you get a semi-reconciliation with your mom. You go home, you meet with your partner who you've now pulled up in front of a dance studio, and you think, okay, Beth's gonna dance. And while they're in the car, you're
I just want to get on that last scene between the two of them, because there's another scene the next morning when Beth's mom comes back to her.
right.
And tries to explain to her why she made the decisions
You've
that she
got
made.
90 seconds.
I have 90 seconds for this. So I'm gonna read my notes, and then I want Sue to chime in on these notes, okay? So mom tells Beth about her mother and the importance of education, right? And then in the midst of that, we meet your father. She meets your father and is described as bad company, but she says he wasn't bad company. He just didn't take life quite so seriously, right? He gave her the air that she didn't have on her own, right? And then he tells the story about Abe coming while she's studying and feeding her while she's studying, because she wouldn't take time to eat food. But her mom saw this man feeding her daughter while she was studying. She's like, okay, I guess he okay.
Yeah. Another partner that helps her dream.
And that she said, Bethany, I don't know if I made the right decision for you, but I didn't have time to question myself. My air was gone, and I just had me and my worries, wanting my last child to be okay, right? And you say, you didn't fail me, Mom. I'm strong because of you, right? And she says, I shouldn't have taken dance away so quickly. I'm sorry. And she said, thank you. And this is just going back to Jack in the last episode, just saying, I made a mistake. When you are able to apologize, right? And it doesn't matter if it is peer to peer, if it doesn't mean if it's child to parent or parent to child, there's so much power in just hearing those words and being like, you know what? That's all I really wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that accountability, what a message it sends. It's like, we continue learning that over and over again. I'm like, yes, that is how you do that as a parent.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
wow, it's so easy.
And also it's powerful. It's
so
powerful.
powerful.
I think some parents may think it may weaken their position as a parent,
Right.
but there is something so powerful about apologizing. Apologizing is one of the hardest things you can do.
Yeah.
So when you do that and sort of submit to submit in that position and sort of, submit to the asking of forgiveness.
Yeah.
There is something really powerful in watching somebody do that, because they're standing in something that they're owning.
Yes.
And saying, hey, I'm going to offer this up. And, we can hide behind ego and all these things, or respect me and I'm nah. But I respect so much a sincere apology. I just think it's like the highest form of
the apologies in this show I have accepted on behalf of people who I want to hear apologies from.
Right.
In lieu of hearing it from them.
Like Jack apologizing for the glitter, for the sequin fight thing. I was like, all right, that's good enough for me. That's the I'm sorry I needed to hear. I'll take it. From anybody.
It was so beautiful because Mama C, Miss Rashad is so strong throughout everything and whatnot. And there's still strength as she's retelling this story or whatnot. And then just to humble herself to the place of you know what? I'm not sure. She's like, I didn't have time. I don't know if I did right by you. And if I messed up, I'm sorry.
Nice.
And there was a light. So, Chris.
You reconciled.
No, but yeah, she didn't, I mean, there's right and wrong and everything, right? So she didn't mess up. The new path she put you on
led you to Randall.
Right.
We see the flashback, you guys bumping into each other.
We do. We just said, and Randall's just happy. She writes down in the past, she put Bethany on her name tag.
Not anymore.
And then she's like, you know what?
Now I'm Beth.
New person.
I'm just Beth, baby.
Yeah.
It's just B right here. And old Randall's just grinning from ear to ear. Like, all right, we're going to make this work.
Yeah, that's right.
In the present.
Put it on them.
You come home We have a kiss, and she says, I'm ready to tell you what I want to do next. They go to the dance studio.
That's right.
And, you go ahead and do your thing. She's like, I know I'm too old. Like, child, please, you ain't told to do nothing. Since when do we care what people say? And she gives me this look like, huh? Right? Because her dad had said something to her very similar in the past as well. She goes in there into this room, and she just starts dancing, man. And you see, and it cuts back and forth between young Beth, and it sort of marries like the person that I forgot that I was. I'm still that person.
Yeah.
I'm remembering who that person is.
I'm remembering. And guess what, y'all? I went back to dance class now.
Yeah.
Really?
I am back in dance class. Let me tell y'all something. Things can inspire you to go back. And I went back and I've been doing it now for maybe like 2 months or so.
Okay.
And I went into the first class I took might have been like the West African dance. And when I tell you, I found myself again. I felt Afro-Brazilian I did as well. And I felt so in my skin and in my body and so high. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
And also I couldn't believe I could still do it because some part of me as a dancer, because I haven't done it in so long, there's a rhythm that I feel like I don't even know if I have it anymore. But you get back in the room and, that music goes on and that thing starts pulsing through your body. And for me, it was my favorite form of communication. If I didn't have to talk, I'd rather dance than talk.
Yeah.
And that thing leapt through my body again. And I have felt so grounded in myself and in my skin. And, whether I end up performing for people again, or whether I'm doing it just for me, whatever it is, it completes me in a way that nothing else does. And so to remember those parts of yourself, stitch those things back together again, to dream again, to be that little kid again, whatever it is that lights you up. That's what I hope this episode encouraged people to do, is just go back to, and we heard so much feedback about that.
Yeah.
But go back to that thing that sparks in you, because it sparks for a reason. A lot of times, our life is so much about what sparks that can make you money, what sparks that you can live off of in your life.
Yeah.
But we can't forget the things that spark just because it brings us joy, just because it reminds us of who we are on the inside.
Let go.
It sparks because it sparks our creativity. It sparks because it makes us glow. Those things are just as important to continue to pursue. So I wanted to add that to it because I can't believe it. I'm back. You know what I'm saying? And it feels incredible. Incredible.
You ain't never left. You ain't never lost.
I ain't never lied about it.
And with that, there's nothing else to say.
No.
What else is there to say? Thank you guys. It's so good to revisit the little girl who danced before she could walk. Oh my
That's
God.
right.
Yes.
Beth, she should, the ladies are asking her what she wants to do. Is if you want to join this class, I think you passed being a beginner. You could join the advanced class. She's like, actually, I got something else in mind.
Yeah.
I want to teach.
That's right.
And that's when Brown cried again, too.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And I just was like, how is Susan so good? It just boggles the mind. You are the most incredible, delicious performance. I just I'm obsessed with watching Beth and getting you to have this whole episode. It was just so long overdue.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I loved it.
Thank you so much. It means so much. And it's lovely when we get those insights into, who we are. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like for Beth, after the 2 seasons, and I think this was it was season 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To get a chance to for me as a character to get to know her deeper was just such a pivotal moment.
And for the audience too. They needed it. They wanted it.
Really, really cool.
Shout out to Rachel Hilson, too. We didn't get a chance to get too much into
shout her out.
But I will say
She's
this.
on Duster right now.
She's
HBO,
chilling.
check her out.
I think the most profound thing for young ladies, especially, different body types manifest differently, right? And healthy, strong bodies don't all look the same.
Right.
And I think probably one of the reasons that you're talking about dance, Sue, and ballet is because sisters have curves.
Yeah.
And oftentimes curves are discouraged in the world of ballet. Ballet is about lines, not necessarily about curves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was
they were always like, tuck your butt in. I was like, I can't.
This is as tucked as it gets, big dog.
You don't get no tucker. Tucker no more than this. Pull your stomach in. I can't. You know what I mean? Okay. But I get it. Listen, I have respect for that art form. There's some parts, you know what I mean? I know the form of it.
I do. Yeah.
But I felt, it was a little something different at that particular dance school. It definitely was a little something different.
What's funny too, though, but like the sister who came in and got the solo, she had curves too.
Yeah, I was like, right. Okay.
Well, that wasn't the story we were telling there. That wasn't, this was just my personal.
I feel you. I feel you. I got you.
Yeah.
Sue, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Sue.
We love
guys,
you.
It's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me back.
Things going on or whatnot, but thank you for gracing us with your presence, and hopefully you get a chance to do it a couple more times as well.
Yeah.
Check her out now on The Residence on Netflix.
On Netflix.
That's it. We love you. It's always a joy to be with my TV wife, man. She's one of my favorite human beings in this whole world, and I'm so glad she got a chance to shine in this episode.
Yes.
We're going to step away for a moment. When we come back, we're going to come back with our fan segment. We got a beautiful letter from a beautiful lady, and this episode resonated very much with her. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to another episode of That Was Us. So this fan segment, this email really hit home for us. We received a beautiful email from a listener that was so thoughtful and so moving. We wanted to share it with you guys.
'Tis the kind of message that reminds you just how powerful this show and the community we've built really is.
It's a reflection on identity, family, sacrifice, and how seeing yourself represented on screen can feel like finally being seen in real life. And with that, let's share it.
Okay.
Right.
She says, "Hi guys, can I start by expressing how grateful I am that you guys are rewatching the show and doing a podcast on it? I was so geeked to know you guys fanboyed or fangirled over the show like the rest of us." It's very true. Sully, I rated and subscribed to the podcast.
Good.
I also follow on
5
YouTube
stars.
and IG. Thank you so
Right
much.
on.
This is what we need you to do.
I watch the podcast religiously, just like I did the show, and like each episode as I go
Yes.
along. Anything I can do to keep you guys going till you reach the end of season 6, or at the very least, my favorite episode deep in season 3, that would be episode 13, Our Little Island Girl. As a Black woman, I identified with Beth immediately. Truthfully, I can't tell y'all how many times I silently screamed, "I freaking love Beth," while watching the show when Susan was on screen.
We freaking love Beth.
Yeah, me too.
And in this episode, Miss Sue continued to deliver. In the story, this gorgeous, successful woman had hit a roadblock professionally because the path that her mother had originally put her on had run its course. And on top of that, she had to recalibrate while dealing with a headstrong parent. It's really something how whenever you go home, you seem to fall back into the roles you held as a child. If one of my parents fell and bruised a hip, I'd be the child expected to go home and check, and my younger cousin would definitely check in alongside me. Zoe reminds me so much of her. Beautiful, fearless, says what needs to be said. It's funny, my cousin and I call each other sister cousin, too. But what strikes me every doggone time I watch this episode is how much I see myself in Beth's mom. Mrs. Clark is exacting, practical, and suffers no fools or foolishness. She carries her mother's sacrifice with her and demands the best from herself and those she cares about. She sees life as, if this, then that. And things can become very black and white that way.
When Mama C apologizes to Beth for not allowing herself to see more gray in the world because the one person who gave her balance and created space to allow her to breathe had passed on, the dam behind my eyes breaks. And I have to pause the episode because it takes me a moment to recover from the heaving sobs. Quote, "I just had me and my worries," unquote, she said. Same, sis. Same. It's been said so many times in the podcast, and it's worth reiterating here, how well this show portrays actual life. It takes all kinds of people to make this life gig do what it does. It takes an Abe to balance a Carol. It takes a Randall to reassure momentarily unsure Beth. It took both men reminding their partners, "Child, please, when have we ever listened to people?" The same song playing at the beginning and end of the episode, but performed by different generations. And a song which coincidentally reminds me of my mom, who has always been my balance. and whose sacrifices I don't take for granted. This episode, this show, and each of you are a gift, and I couldn't possibly be more grateful. Thanks for the opportunity to share. Peace and blessings to each of you. Tamar. I believe it's Tamar. And Tamar, what a note.
What a letter.
I mean,
Oh,
is
my
she a
goodness.
This Is Us writer?
I know.
Maybe. Like, you should come right on the show.
Yeah.
Incredible. I mean, we didn't even need to rewatch the episode. She just did
I
her
was
whole
like,
job for us.
Carol is exacting. That's the perfect word to describe her.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know if I clocked the song at the top of the episode.
I didn't.
I didn't
The same
either.
song.
Time after. Yeah.
Thank you, Tamar, for bringing us in to your rewatch of the episode.
Yeah.
I love it.
It is awesome. Gosh, so many beautiful performances. And we've talked about them already, obviously, because we've already talked about the show. But
And we've already performed them.
exactly. The show is us. We are the show.
This is us!
Tamar. But it does mean it's nice to be reiterated, right? That when people see themselves, it sort of validates their existence, right? They know that they're not alone in anything,
their
and
lived
that
experience.
their life is real and worth being told. I think that's what it is more than anything else. It's like, somebody sees within characters like me a story that is worth being told.
Yep.
So thank you
And
for
sharing with
reflecting
people,
that back
for sure.
to us.
Yes.
Gang, this has been another episode of That Was Us.
Yeah, that's right.
We feature Chris Sullivan.
That's
we
right.
feature
That's
Mandy
me.
Moore
That's Mandy.
and Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah.
And we had our dear friend, Susan Kelechi Watson, on this
Kelechi Watson.
particular episode. We're so grateful for her
SK
time and joining us.
For shizzle.
And just lovely to be with you guys, to be in your company and get to talk about the show that we love so much.
Yeah.
It's the best.
As always.
If you would like to reach out to us, you can write us a little note at thatwasuspod@gmail.com.
Yep.
Or you can call us at
412-510.
Nope.
Nope. Delete
Try
that.
again.
See?
412
Yes.
501
501
3028. And by the end of season 6,
Maybe.
we'll have that number
the
memorized.
phone
I
number.
mixed up the 510. It's 501.
Yeah,
501.
you wouldn't believe the number of lines we've memorized in our lives.
And for some reason,
Millions.
And a
can't-
single phone
can't
number.
remember a phone number.
Because we don't have to type them anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So true.
All right. That's it for this one. Chris, you want to look at the camera? What do you want to tell them?
That was you watching. That was us.
That Was Us is filmed at Rabbit Grin Studios and produced by Rabbit Grin Productions. Music by Taylor Goldsmith and Griffin Goldsmith.
Da-da-da-dum, da-da-dum. That was us.